Hi guys and girls, whoever watches. It is now roughly day 17. Day 18. My taking note of readings slightly diminished a little bit just because I wasn't seeing massive changes and I didn't want to waste all my reagents and the stuff I had in the test kits on it completely. So I've calmed down a bit, taken a step back from it, just been getting on with a lot of full-time work that I've been doing over the summer in a bid to earn some money so that I can buy a motorbike before I go back to uni. Don't judge me. So a couple of things that have changed. I've got this strange... so I think I'll go through my readings to begin with. So my salinity ended up changing somewhat slightly. I think that's just because of the skimmer sort of trying to kick in, and it was skimming quite wet for a period of time. Obviously, I think in an earlier video I described the state in which it was. I've also not really seen any changes or swings in terms of, the three that I mentioned in terms of nitrates, nitrates and ammonia. Although ammonia did spike, as mentioned, it has failed to since, but nitrates always remain at 50 ppm or above. So, what's next? Well, I've got, apart from messing around with some LEDs for the cabinet, which I'll show you, there's a cat as well, basking in the sun, who also finds the fish tank intriguing. I have loads of 50/50 SMDs, LEDs, and they are a combination of 4:1 red to blue, and this will serve as my refugium light. I've got a custom piece of acrylic coming, which wasn't that cheap. The piece was cheap itself. The piece was actually £1.50 to make. However, the delivery for such an item was tremendously more. If he stops eating my cable, I can show you. This will be my power supply for it. It's taken from from the Now TV router. Supplies 12 volts at 2 amps, so that'll do me for powering this. I won't be powering the whole thing. I have a 20 centimeter strip, and we'll have maybe 5 or 6 sequential rows of LEDs, and I join them with some wire in parallel, and then obviously run that cable up. Oh, and I was supposed to order some vinyl wrap, which I've forgotten. Or I did order, and that hasn't come yet. So the tank hasn't changed a massive amount. However, I've been a bit of a dodo, and I scratched the back acrylic panel. I was using the turkey baster, which I'll show you in a second, and the little thing that came with it to scrub, because I don't know why I keep repeating stuff. It'll be hard to see on this angle. I am suffering from some sort of outbreak of the kind. It's really difficult to see, especially in the sun. There you go. So if you see that in there, just behind that rock, very stringy substances. Some describe it as mucus. I describe it as like a type of webbing. It seems to be on the back of the rocks mostly, but there are hints of it. Over there. You can see it swaying on sort of the left-hand side there, specifically at the bottom. Diatoms or whatever was present seems to have faded. There is sort of brown tint to the sand. Again, it's so difficult to see with the tank light, but what can I do? I've been trying to flush it out. Been told it's just an imbalance that will clear, obviously, as the tank matures, but you can see the clarity through the tank. Obviously the water is very, very clean. I mean, that is almost, like for like the same image going across there. So not too fast, it's just a matter of time, waiting a bit. I don't feel as though it'll have an impact on the fish from what I've seen. Skimmer is going strong. The air valve's really not opened up at all, which I dislike sort of because of the amount of air it pushes in. I did order a calibration kit for the pH meter So hopefully, I'm hoping to use it. I don't chase pH, I think, as I've mentioned, but I was sitting around 7.5, which is not fantastic. So now I've got push hinges on there. I do need to adjust one of the screws, but very fancy lighting. That reel of LEDs I showed you not so long ago has now finally been placed. You can actually see them, I think, up there. So looking very tidy indeed, with ample light. Just waiting for the little adhesive to peel off and for all of them to fall down. But so far so good. It definitely looks a lot better at night, and it's really looking good. So I am pretty happy with that. I've taken the plastic off this because I don't think it was necessary. There was a bit of I got this from AliExpress, but there's a bit of a smell, like almost as if it was the acrylic cement, as if I can still smell that. So I'm actually going to take these off. But it looks substantial, and the LEDs shine off it absolutely beautifully. So, you know, it's all pretty good. So I basically daisy chained all the LEDs. You can actually see some of the wiring going across there, but it took some time. It took me about 2 hours to cut all of these to length. He's been playing with them whilst I've been doing that. I had the soldering iron out. I was just going to show you a strip of what I used. So it was initially this stuff. However, there's a plastic covering it, like a waterproof casing, which you need to cut off with the a Stanley knife, and then you can start soldering, etc. And then you also have a cat which tends to knock stuff over too, so that helps. But just on my feet, apologise. But yeah, it's getting there. I'm hoping to do a big water change on day 21. I'm hoping to do an 80% water change. I'm going to agitate all the rocks again, which I have been doing pretty much daily, without scratching the back wall this time. So I'm hoping to agitate all the rocks with a brush, and then ideally I should just use a toothbrush because it's the turkey baster. There we go. That little piece inside, the metal obviously scratched all along, and that's, you know, hence why it's now scratched. But yeah, so that's the next step, is to agitate all of this stuff, get all this crap off, do a big water change, look at the nitrate levels, get that refugium in, which is going to present some difficulties just because, well, this is sort of wall mounted. Obviously, for extra support, I did mount this into the wall as well, just so there was no play. But to get behind here and cut away the the vinyl without ruining it is going to be a fun job indeed. But I am looking forward to it. I've also had the lights off actually, which I will turn them off in a minute. But I've had the lights off in an attempt to sort of drown out, suffocate this, whatever it is. I'm really having difficulties trying to work out exactly what it is, but very similar to, they look like vermitid snails, but obviously I haven't got any livestock in it whatsoever, so I'm not sure where it's come from. Some say it's a bacterial bloom, but then my water should be cloudy and it's obviously crystal clear. So a lot of troubleshooting still left to do, but I've been told not to worry about this from what it seems. But yeah, so guys, stay tuned. The other video will be up as well shortly. And thanks for watching Ashley's Reef, and I will keep you updated. Hopefully next time will be fish.